So on his way to Humayma, Bukayr ibn Mahan stopped in Damascus, and he was disguised as a spice merchant. And we mentioned how Mawali, who were merchants, had an easier time of escaping Umayyad's suspicion. So while he was in Damascus, Bukayr ibn Mahan began selling goods and buying stock all around Damascus. This is part of him building this cover story of him being a spice merchant. I'm hoping I can portray the absolute genius of the Abbasid conspiracy, their intrigue, their ability to escape cover and to hide from the Umayyads, their secrecy. It is absolutely mind-boggling that they were doing this sort of thing with no technology. So this is all part of Bukayr ibn Mahan building up his cover story as a spice merchant. He finally goes on to Humayma, where he is continuing to pose as a spice merchant. So he goes to Damascus, buys stock, sells stock all over Damascus, so people get to know of him as a spice merchant. Then goes on to Humayma, presumably to continue selling spice. But really, he's going there to make a connection with the Imam. He met with one of the local Hashemiyah in Humayma who knew him, and that person introduced Bukayr ibn Mahan to Muhammad ibn Ali, who is the Hashemiyah Imam. He confirmed his identity, that is, Bukayr ibn Mahan confirmed his identity to Muhammad ibn Ali with a secret handshake. Another reason that Muhammad ibn Ali recognized or knew that Bukayr ibn Mahan was who he said he was that he had, that is, Muhammad ibn Ali had a list of trustworthy supporters. There are several contradictory and conflicting reports of this list of the early supporters of the Abbasid movement. So now Bukayr, he meets Muhammad ibn Ali. Bukayr updates the Imam, that is Muhammad ibn Ali, on the developments in Kufa and Jordan. But Bukayr ibn Mahan is really not happy with the Imam's security. And so he advised Muhammad ibn Ali to buy another house in a nearby village called Khudad. This would allow Muhammad ibn Ali to conduct Hashemiyah business, but away from his family. This is them putting another level of security between Muhammad ibn Ali and the outside world. Bukayr also advised Muhammad ibn Ali to create a barrier of communication between him and the public. This would make it very difficult for the rank and file Hashemiyah to get close to the Imam because they could be infiltrated. Muhammad ibn Ali agreed with Bukayr's advice, and he appointed a Mawla, another man named Fadallah ibn Mu'adh, as his representative in Damascus. So in order to communicate with the Imam, that is with Muhammad ibn Ali in Sharat, any rank and file Hashemiyah in Kufa, they had to go through Fadallah, this Mawla in Damascus. They can never meet with the Imam in person. And just so we get all of our locations together, Sharat was the region in Jordan. Humayma was the city within Sharat that Ibn Abbas's descendants decided to settle, and Khudad was the village near Humayma where Muhammad ibn Ali managed the Abbasid movement. So now let's talk about the organization of the Dawah in Khorasan. In Khorasan, Sulaiman ibn Kathir, that's the Arab Muqatila that Bukayr ibn Muhammad had converted or recruited back during his Hajj. Sulaiman ibn Kathir used his house as a Hashemiyah meeting center. His position as a Muqatila, as a warrior, allowed him to convince other influential Arabs to join the cause as well. So Sulaiman ibn Kathir and other da'is, they were able to convince people to join the cause by using the argument that Ahlul Bayt, the people of the house, deserved the caliphate more than the Umayyads. Now, when Sulaiman ibn Kathir and Bukayr ibn Mahan and all these others who are supporters of Muhammad ibn Ali, when they say Ahlul Bayt, they mean someone from the Abbasid side. Ibn Abbas was still a member of the Prophet's family. They didn't necessarily say that they were talking about the Abbasid side, but they used that as cover that convinced people to join their cause. The Arabs, not the Mawla, not the Mawali, the Arabs were the first to be invited to the Abbasid cause in Khorasan. And most of these Arabs who joined the Abbasid cause, they were centered around Merv, which is in Turkmenistan. And Merv was essentially the capital of Khorasan for the Umayyad regime. Despite Sulaiman ibn Kathir's influence and his hard work, the early Abbasid movement started off very, very slowly. We're talking around now 103, 104 AH. Nonetheless, the Umayyad authorities in Khorasan, now they knew something was going on, but they weren't exactly sure what it was. Just like in Kufa, the Hashemiyah in Khurasan, they did not call for open rebellion. They didn't call for taking up arms and fighting against the Umayyads just yet. They were building their base. And so because they kept things quiet, because they didn't call for rebellion, because they didn't call for overthrowing the Umayyads, the word didn't really get out. There wasn't much noise about it. But the Umayyads knew something was going on. But there's always something going on. As we see, there's always something going on within the Umayyad dynasty, within the Umayyad regime. It wasn't really something the Umayyads could act on just yet. So Sulayman ibn Kathir, he was the leader of the 12 Nakib. The Nakib were the top Abbasid da'is in Khorasan, and the singular word, Nakib is plural, and the singular word is Naqab. And this just shows you just how sophisticated the Abbasid organization was. Not only did they have these 12 Nakib who were the lead da'is, the head da'is in Khorasan, the leaders of the Abbasid movement, so to speak, in Khorasan, they even had another 12 men who were ready to replace any individual Naqab, any individual da'i who died or left the movement or for whatever reason had to leave. The primary responsibility of the 12 Nakib was to manage and organize the dawah in Khorasan. All of the Nakib were equal. There was no preference for Arabs over Mawla or Mawla over Arabs, none of that stuff. Now, there are different estimates of how many Nakib were Arab or Mawla, but there was a mixture. I saw some estimates that say there were 8 to 4, that is 8 Arabs to 4 Mawali. I saw others that say 7 to 5, 7 Arabs to 5 Mawali. There's no true certainty, but the point of the matter is that the 12 Nakib, they operated on an equal basis. These 12 Nakib, the leaders of the Abbasid dawah in Khurasan, they were the only ones allowed to meet the Imam, to meet with Muhammad ibn Ali in person. And this was only really usually done during the Hajj pilgrimage. They didn't make regular trips to Jordan to meet with Muhammad ibn Ali. They didn't make regular trips there because that would have, of course, attracted attention. They usually only met him during the Hajj pilgrimage. They would bring him money that they had raised in Khurasan. They had this ideology of setting aside 1/5 of their wealth for the Imam, for the leader of the movement. The 12 Nakib, when they were in Khurasan, they organized and managed the activities of the other da'is who were working in the field in Khurasan. There were a total of 58 da'is working in Khurasan, trying to attract people to the Hashemiyah/Abbasid movement. Now, most of these 58 da'is were Arab. This early phase of the Abbasid dawah was targeting the Arab muqatila, the warrior class of the Arabs who were mostly stationed within the local Khorasan garrisons. Now, they also did target or try to attract Arab settlers in Merv as well, but their first and primary source were the Arab muqatila. Doesn't hurt to have a group of battle-tested, hardened, influential, sometimes even wealthy warriors backing your cause.